Well, hello everyone. This is WBISLP 106.9. I am Vernon Garrison, and I'm here tonight to co host with you on Let's Talk Real Life with Nada Manning. She'll be here in a moment, but right now, a couple of housekeeping notes for you. If you want to listen to the show, you can go online and hit www awesomeradio.org and go find the media player that's floating around. Tap the button. You can listen to the station 24 hours, 7 days a week. And also, you can find us on Roku TV. Watch the replay of the shows that are broadcast through social media, GPAT 23 and GPAT 23 YouTube, Facebook, and as well, you can go to our Facebook, Awesome Radio Facebook, and watch the show. Like and comment and share if you like. That's got a little ring to it. Google Play, download the app, Awesome Radio. It could just be at your fingertips if you want to listen throughout the day, uninterrupted, all over the world. The greatest gospel and ministry that is released today. So thank you for joining us. This is Let's Talk Real Life with Nada Manning. Well, hello, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? I am doing well. I am doing um, really, really well. And I thank the Lord for it. It's also thankful to see you all, to see you all out there this morning. It is my prayer that you all are doing well also, ready to listen to the topic for the evening. And it is something that you probably can relate to um, when knowledge hurts. When knowledge hurts. Okay, that have a thought to it. One might would say when I first thought about it, when knowledge hurt. When knowledge hurts. What is something you wished didn't happen? What is something you wish you didn't know? Well, such as what? I wish I didn't know what my real background was, what my real ancestry is. I wish I did not know what I know today because I didn't know it yesterday. Yesterday meaning years ago. What is something you wish you did not know? And you're saying that you don't want to know now because it hurts to know. So that's the topic. When knowledge hurts. When you know something and now that you know what you know, it hurts. It hurts. And you say, I wish I never found that out. Or I wish someone did not ever tell me that. Knowledge hurts. When knowledge hurts. Now, again, going back to when I first thought about the topic, I'm thinking knowledge meaning something great because,
Mhm.
truthfully speaking, you would think when you know certain things or know a lot of something, or knowledge meaning academics or something good, knowledge is a positive thing to know some things. That's the first impression that I got when I first thought about it. I said, well, how can knowing things really hurt? But it does. And it's my old cliche, it depends. It depends on what it is as to whether it's going to hurt or not. But the thing is, when you know it. And you can't take it away. You can't put it back. It's like having a baby. Once it comes, it hits here. You can't send it back. You stuck with it. So it's the same thing with your mind. What you're knowing in your brain, in your head, what you have found out, you know about it, and now deal with it or not. So knowledge brings pain. Knowledge can bring pain because, again, it depends on what it is. It can bring pain. Bad memories. That's knowledge because that's something you know. Bad memories Memories in itself are not bad, but bad memories can be very painful. Bad memories can change your whole life. Once you find out what you know, when you know what you know, and it's not good to know it, oh, it can be painful. And you wish all the time that you didn't find out. You wish all the time that it never occurred in the first place, whether you found out or not. Knowledge hurts. When knowledge hurts. And so, as we move into the subtopic of knowledge bringing pain, I thought I'd give you that little brief overview of for you to think about how the knowledge that you've learned has hurt you. What is it that you have heard of or someone told you about? And it could very well not be true. But the point is, it's now in your head. And now you're wondering, well, did that really happen? Because before it was brought to your attention, you never thought about it because you don't think about what you don't know or what's not put in front of you. So even wondering about a thing can be painful. For example, what? Uh, let's say you found out something else, like I don't know, something. I'm always referring back to academics, but let's go away from that. Well, let's stick with that. Then again, now that I'm thinking about it, because again, like I've said several sessions ago, everybody is not into academics. Everybody finished high school and that's all they want to do. Don't say nothing to me about a book. Now we know that books are knowledge. Books bring knowledge. Now, are books always on point? Well, not necessarily. Is it fictional or non fictional? Because somebody wrote that book. Does that make it right or wrong? How would you know that until you read it? And then you got some knowledge. Hello. And then you lead from one thing to another in your mind saying, well, is that really true? Did that really happen? Hmm. And then, like I'm doing some reading these days, I do a lot of reading and I come up with these ideas in my brain. And I said, that might be something good to talk about. And that's what happened with this topic, as it is with every week. Um, Knowledge. I think it can be a very positive thing to have knowledge because you don't want to go around not knowing anything, even if it's wrong. Who walks around not knowing anything at all? I don't think it's anybody. Everybody knows something, even if it's wrong. You know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide whether you want to do anything about it or not, or is it even worth your time to do anything about it? Sometimes some things can be so painful you want to forget it. Forget that you even heard about it, even read about it, even saw it. Sometimes you see things for yourself with your own eyes and you question, did I really see that? That couldn't have been what I really saw. Then you're gonna wipe your eyes and rub your eyes and no, I didn't see that. No, no, no. But by the next day it's in your head. It's knowledge, but you're still questioning it. Did it really happen?
Let,
Did they
let me
really do that?
let me jump right in there, teacher, because you done hit some heavy ones. I love them. You done hit some hard ones, and the one that gets me the most is when somebody really wants to know something, and you really know they don't really need to know.
Right.
You don't want to tell them, but they're so curious, and you say, "Oh, it's okay. It'll be all right." You try to deflect, but finally, and you try to use your credibility to say, it's okay. It's something that we'll talk about it later. You try to deflect to try to protect that person, but they can really be persistent. And once they know, I was a private investigator for 12 years, and I did not like sharing knowledge with people that couldn't believe their eyes and couldn't believe the information was true, but they had such high curiosity and it would almost at times make you a victim because they challenge you so much on the knowledge and on your professional knowledge that they just turn out not to appreciate or not to want to intentionally show. They don't want to show that they appreciate the knowledge because they actually don't. And it's a sad thing to see people learn something and then lash out when you give them information that they either needed to know or were asking you about and just were not prepared for.
Right. Yeah.
As victimization of the person that's bringing the news. And I do feel sorry for people that do that.
Yeah, because a lot of times the person that's delivering the news is not prepared for the response that they get. And the person that's receiving the news is not prepared to really hear what they're going to hear because they don't know what they're going to hear. And like you said, they once they hear about it, it's like a standoffish. It's like, well, now wait a minute. I really wasn't expecting to hear that. But you asked the question though. It's just like um, when you're seeking something. If let's say and this is probably the same thing you just said. Um, when you are in a position, okay, let's talk about nosy neighbors.
Okay.
Nosy neighbors have a keen, and it don't have to be a neighbor. It's a people. Let's say people. Nosy people. No matter if whether it be a neighbor, where it can be a family member, um, just people in general. They have the need to know. They
Mm-hmm.
just curious like that. And it's one of those things where they just and then when they find out, okay, now that you know, now what? Okay, and what?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point? And that's where sometimes I get kind of stuck. Like you want to know something, you're always around where you shouldn't be. Uh, but what's the point? Why do you need to know so much? And you have some you heard some people say over the years that um, mind your own business. You take care of your yard. Stay in your lane. All that. And then when they find out something that it really wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and it could have been they could be looking for something that's bad and can't find nothing that's bad. So who's hurt? They hurt because they didn't find out what they thought they was going to find out, which makes zero sense to other people. But the one that's nosy, I guess they just have a need to know. They just
And
not gonna be satisfied until they keep digging. It's just like going in files, going in people's file cabinets, going through their desks, going through their belongings, whatever. Once you find out something, it's like, well, whoa, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting to find this right here. Wow, is that what's going on? Hmm. You could be going somewhere looking for one thing and find something like a gun, or like some anything that you didn't expect to find. Or you have robbers that want to get in your home or wherever, and they're disappointed because they didn't find what they thought they were going to find, but they had a need to know. They just curious. They just you just have that thing about you that somebody just want to keep digging. But sometimes that knowledge can hurt you. Sometimes you're putting yourself in danger when you're trying to dig like that. When knowledge hurts, there are times when knowledge does hurt. Trying to find out stuff and finding out what you didn't want to find out, it hurts you.
what there's another one similar to that. That's a little oddity, but some people know what I'm talking about. And that is when you see other people catch a break or what you perceive to be a break. You see other people sort of use a rite of passage and you feel short because you saw it. Well, I can guarantee you that probably most of the time that person had some type of permission, some type of political advantage over you. But then there is, and so yes, that might have been an unfair situation that you just saw happen. Somebody skipped the line and they got let in. So, but the part that you do not know is what it took for that person to get that advantage.
Yeah.
How much money they paid, or what kind of favors they have done, or what type of perhaps a quid pro quo situation there. You just don't know what you will have to do to get that type of thing that you have perceived to be an unfair advantage from someone else. So you can go digging if you want to, uh, but I guess sometimes you might want to grin and bear it until you know more information.
And sometimes when you go digging and don't find anything at all, it's empty. Everywhere you look is empty. It's like going to like breaking into somebody's place and come to find out there's nobody there at all. The place is empty and you didn't even know it was empty. Now who's in pain? You're in pain because you did all that work and all that effort and energy you used to get to there, only to find out there's nothing to look for because everything is gone. Knowledge can bring pain. Needing to know can bring pain. The pain of disappointment when you don't get what you thought you was going to get. You have the need to know. I just got to know. I'm just not going to be satisfied. I got to find out. And it's painful for that person because they're so anxious and eager. Like anything else, we get anxious and eager about a thing. It becomes painful because you're not getting it quick enough, or you have to go around the mulberry bush to get it, taking too long. So it becomes painful. But all of that, what? It depends on what it is.
I
How
got
painful
another.
it is. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Okay, I got another one. I remember I was in a situation where I was holding my hands up in front, wringing my fingers tonight. Let me get to the point that I was curious about whether somebody was cheating or what was going on. I got so infatuated with that it became sort of a jealousy, and it was intoxicating, just trying to discover things and investigate it, inquiry. It was staying on my mind all day long. So I decided to look it up. And there is a term called morbid jealousy. And it's a clinical status that you have become so consumed with the finding out the unknowns of someone in their movements, if you will, you have in their status and what they're doing, it becomes a almost like depression, can become really clinical. So does a term morbid jealousy. And when I read the definition of morbid jealousy, I was like, whoa. Yes, I'm talking about the part that it consumes your day. It makes you call a person 10 times an hour. That can become clinical. And if you don't believe it, just look it up. So here's the knowledge that can free you tonight if you're listening to this show. If you're consumed with the search for knowledge on any particular subject, especially if it's relationships or something going on at work, how much you're getting paid all the time, you might want to look into this to see how far you into it. And this is the last part I'll say. Once you find that you are so intense about trying to discover this knowledge that we're talking about tonight, you better get control of your life. And once you fall back and start observing, you'll realize that the things that you needed to know will be revealed to you, especially if you're on the spiritual side of things. When you're praying and you're meditating and you are trying to approach things with the right motive. But if you're out to kill, steal, and destroy, then you know that you're going to meet resistance on every front and things going to be right in front of you. But the state of mind that you're in is what the teacher is talking about tonight.
All right. We're live, folks. My name is Nada Manning. I am your host. Please call in at 252-756-2008. Would love to hear from you. I know this subject has got to be touching every listener out there because we all have knowledge of some kind, whether it's good, bad, or different. We all have knowledge. That's something we do have. Okay, we do have some knowledge. Some people have more knowledge than others. Some people don't know how to use the knowledge that they have, so they do different things with experiment type thing, which is similar to what we're talking about so far in this knowledge thing. One other thing I want to bring out, well, several other points I want to bring out, but continuing on with this knowledge of being so painful, it comes a part where it's called blissful ignorance. Now I had to look that up, and I said, okay,
Uh-huh.
that word ignorance have a negative connotation to it to the average person, but it's not necessarily. It don't have to be a negative. When you're ignorant of something, does not mean you're stupid all the time. It does not mean that you're dumb and all. See, those are negative connotations. You just simply don't know. Now, when it's blissful, I'm giving you several examples. One could be having the need to know or not. It could be, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good example. Blissful ignorance. I'm better off not knowing. We've heard that said before. People tell us sometimes when they know something and they're telling you because you're so curious, and especially the parents and grandparents, they'll say, you're better off not knowing. You're better off just leave it alone, just walk away. You're better off not knowing. But you are so curious. You're going to keep trying one way or the other. Okay, if you don't get the answer over there, you're going to go over here and get the answer. So let's see, what can I say? What you don't know won't hurt you. That's what Nada Manning say all the time. What you don't know won't hurt you. Well, that does not go over well with everybody because they want to know. And what the person is trying to tell you is, inquisitor, that if you find out what you want to find out, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be satisfied. You're going to be sorry you found out. The blissful part is having the mindset of wanting to know or not. Many times it's not, I don't want to know. But then you have what? A state of not knowing and not wanting to know about unhappy things or possible problems. Um, is a form of blissfulness. You want to know. And one hand is saying, I want to know. I really need to know this. But the other hand is saying, no, I don't really need to know that. I don't really need to know that. Let's say another one is, let's say lying, L-Y, like telling a lie. No use lying about it. You know, we've heard that a lot. No use lying about it, or saying what? No use lying about it, saying I don't know what you are talking about. And you say, well, there's no point in lying about it. I don't know what you're talking about. What? I didn't know anything about that. That's when the person, to me, I've run into that many, many times. I don't know what you're talking about. They're telling me they don't know nothing about what I'm saying. In other words, I'm crazy. I'm making it up. What you talking about? Well, I tell you what I'm talking about. And you go on from there. Blissful ignorance. They're saying they don't know, but they really do. But they're trying to lie their way out of it, saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And some people just come right out and flat out and say, no, I didn't. I didn't do or say or wasn't where you thought I was or whatever. The blissfulness is denying the truth. You know what you know, but you don't want them to know that you know. Make sense?
It does.
Hmm.
You just
I think a lot. A lot of us at some point in our lives, and I'm not exempt, I say that too, I'm not exempt. Sometimes we're in a situation where we want to be honest and upfront about a thing, and we try to get around it. And sometimes it's difficult because what? Knowing is going to hurt. It's going to hurt me or whoever it is involved, or it's going to hurt the person I'm talking to. So you get around the whole thing. Some of us just change the subject. But then if the person is persistent enough, they're going to come back to the subject eventually because they want to know. Inquiring minds wants to know. Inquiring minds wants to know. And some things, like I said earlier, is best left alone and not be known. Don't go digging up what's been buried for 100 years. Maybe it's best off that you leave it buried. Because when you find out, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, like a credit report.
Yeah.
Once you say, well, let me take a look at this thing. I'm not planning on buying anything in the next 100 years, but I'm going to take a look anyway. And then you find out that there is a real copulation of your buying, selling, and trading, that will affect your future buying, selling, and trading. And so it's best that you do be conscious of that. And whatever your score might be, it might surprise you. It might be higher than you thought. It might be lower than you thought. But that information, that is the knowledge that can kind of be painful doing your taxes, things of that nature. That's one that if you let the snowball continue to roll down the hill, you better know it's getting bigger. I don't see situations like that getting smaller. So when it comes to waking up to knowledge, I don't know what it is on your course tonight, but there are some things that if you don't know, you better hurry up and recognize that it is being accumulating interest, late payments, stuff like that. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Let's see. What else can I say? Um, let's see. My first question was, what's something you wish you didn't know? Um, how about, um, hmm, weren't you happier? Let me see. Let me think of a nice way to put this. Sometimes we are happier when we don't find out certain things. Weren't you happier before you grew up? Something you knew as a child or learned as a child or learned later on in life. For example, there are a lot of mixed families out here today. And you find out that you are not who you thought you were.
All right, come on now. You got to tell us about this one.
Right. You're not who you thought you were. You didn't come from where you were told you came from.
Oh, really?
Okay. The what is it? The stork brought you in
Yeah.
when you were born, but that stork didn't come from where you were told it came from.
Oh, you talking about somebody that's not your daddy?
Right. You're real folks. Now you especially, and this is a personal experience in my family, did not find out that they were not who they were until they got ready to get married and had to go get a marriage license. And once they found out, man, did it hurt. It was like a ton of bricks.
Mm,
And it was like, what? And became mad at the world, disengaged with folk. What do you mean I'm not? What? It's not because they were curious. Well, I guess they were curious in the beginning, but not enough to go digging. But when you get married, you don't have a choice because you're supposed to have truthful information on the marriage certificate about
mm-hmm.
your parents. So sometimes we go putting down the parents that brought us up because we thought that was our parent, only to find out that was false information. Knowledge hurt. When you find out that you did not come from the folks you thought you came from, or you were brought up in an environment that was not what it was supposed to have been, you found out some things about the environment, it hurt. Knowledge can hurt. And knowledge can be positive. Yeah, there's two sides to this coin. You have the hurting side and you have the pleasant side, like, yay, woo, whew. So you're happy about a thing. You're happy because you found out what you was hoping was what it was supposed to be. So now you're really happy because now you can move on with joy and smiles and grinning and all that stuff. It's great. That's the positive side. So knowledge has two sides. Folks, it don't always have to be a bad side. Of course not. Sometimes I would dare say, can I say it's 50-50?
How about if she pregnant?
Knowledge, when you find out that you're pregnant, that's a 50-50.
It sure is.
Because sometimes the pregnancy is wanted and sometimes it's not. So, is it really a surprise when you've done things to get pregnant and you know that it's a possibility?
That's the decision you made to get pregnant when you did that.
Right.
If there's a possibility, to me, you know what you did.
So now
it's not a surprise.
Right. But see, now while you're waiting for the results of the test, which is very quick these days, I'm finding out. You're wondering, sitting on the edge, can't sleep, tossing and turning, and all this kind of. Either you're happy you're pregnant or you're not, or you're wondering if you are, and if you are, then what? And if you're not, then what? Then it's whew, I got through with that. But is that the end of it? Of course not. It's not over. You got by that time. And sometimes I can honestly say I was married 2 years before I got pregnant. Well, I was pregnant. I tell you the truth, I did get pregnant, but I had a miscarriage. But later on, when we did get married, it took me 2 years to get pregnant. 2 years. But that was in a marriage situation. You expect to get pregnant when you're married.
Right.
But look, folks, I'm not putting anybody down by having babies and you're not married. That's not where I'm going with this, because I am not the one to point fingers. I'm not doing that. There is no perfection here. We all mess up at some point in our lives. So don't think that Miss Manning is trying to get on anybody. That's not the point.
They didn't mess up either. They laid down, they had a child based on what they were doing. There was not a mistake. And you know my position on that. It is not a mistake. When you lay down and you do what you do and the child shows up, there ain't no mistake.
Okay.
It was a pregnancy that came out of it. What did you think was going to come out of it? A birthday party or something? Yeah, birthday is going to come. A party. That is true.
Okay. But folks, we just don't want anybody to get twisted out there. We
I got you.
Things happen. Okay. And knowledge can go all kinds of ways. And it's what you do with that knowledge when you get it. That's what's going to make you or break you. No matter what the situation is. It's what you're going to do. Once you find out what you're finding out, now what? That's the point right there. Since you have to know, and you found out what you needed to know and wanted to know and had to know, now what? And the example we just gave about the intimacy of pregnancy, okay, now you know what you know, now what? You have to make some choices. And it hurts sometimes. And then on the flip side, that, like I said earlier, sometimes it can be a happy thing. It's a thing like finally, like I was 2 years later. Finally, we didn't know what we were going to do if we didn't have one. So 2 years later, here it comes, and we move on and dealt with it.
Hmm.
And that's what we have to do, folks. We have to keep in mind when we find out things. Be prepared if you can. Be prepared to get what you get
I
and have
believe
your
that.
mindset so it won't hurt so much, depending on what it is. Yes.
I believe that I had this young man that I'm mentoring, and sometimes I let him in on things, and he's fascinated. I'm like, whoa. And he's sort of a well-rounded. He's got his parents and everything, but he's in college now. But his points of realization, you could have already heard it from somebody else, but then when you hear it from somebody else, then you just heard it. And I was, sharing with him the time that I did a study, and I haven't been back to that scripture in a while, but wisdom can bring about sorrow because you understand more now. Your eyes are open. Is that something that fits your class tonight?
Knowledge. Yes. Wisdom is knowledge.
Yeah, and it can make you sorrowful because now you understand what's behind the scenes, and you can either see that a person can't help it. You're like, oh, that's why they're doing that. Or you can see it's inevitable. That if a child grows up in a certain environment, that child, what not a, less chance of too many good things happening if a child grows up in a certain type of environment.
Right.
And so then you can see social constructs and social conditioning, and you can understand the pattern of racism and imperialism and even mental illnesses as they travel down, and curses as they travel from family to family.
Yeah. And that was going to be one of the things I bring up about the child. And when I was saying earlier about weren't you happier before you grew up and you learned what your weaknesses were?
Amen. Yeah.
Weren't you happier before you found out? Weren't you happier before you learned, like I said, about family secrets? Why your uncle drinks so heavy, or why your mama didn't do like she was supposed to do as a mother? Learning why your parents were divorced, the real reason why they were divorced. Sometimes we don't find out until we full grown and married ourselves why our parents got a divorce. Why? Because they never talked about it. And even now, when you ask them, they'll beat around the bush about giving you an answer. It's like, okay, mom, dad, I'm grown now. I mean, I can take whatever it is. I mean, I'm past the puberty and the child and the boohooing. I just want to know what happened. Knowledge is curiosity. You want to know what you want to know. And once you gain that knowledge, is it going to help you be a better person? Is it going to make a difference now that you know what you know? Is it going to make you a stronger person because you found out? Because it's hurtful. It could be. It depends on what it is. It could make you a stronger person. There are times when we find out things about our parents, or see things for ourselves without asking them because it shows up, it's right in your face. The knowledge of that lets you know that do you want to be like that or not when you become a parent, or now that you are a parent. Is that the way you want to be? I dare say that there's two sides to that coin as well, because you have those parents that did stay together, that did do the whole parenting thing, through it all, thick and thin, the fussing and the arguing, and sometimes the fighting and all of that. But they stayed together. They stayed together because they made up their mind that they were not going to go back on their vows. So when they just made that decision and made those vows, they threw it all. We're going to stick it out. Some
Well,
of us can do it, and some of us, we mean well when we say it. But 2, 3 years, 4, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, it's gotten to the point where you know what? I don't think this. No, this is not working out. I'm finding out some things that I didn't know, and I don't like it. It's no, 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 no. And I know, folks, I'm talking to a lot of people out there. I'm one of them.
that's why I say don't lie to a child. And I did a guardian item volunteer thing for about 6 years, and volunteered and advocated for children in neglect and abuse situations where I would go to court and make recommendations because I would go and spend time with a child in various homes, go to this home, hang out with them, go to the other home, and I look at, you know, the what I thought was the best interest of the child and work with DSS. And so the point I'm making is I would see parents say certain things to a child about the other parent. And I'm just like, that's going to come back on you. That's going to come back on you if you do not allow the child, or you put in barriers to keep the child from visiting. You're going to create a barrier, a vacuum of questions that a
Mm-hmm.
child doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And one day you will be caught. So that's why my parents talking slow and this, that, and the other, blase.
All right. Good point. Um, are you mad because you were wrong about something, or are you mad because you got caught? That knowledge. You mad because you got caught, or were you mad because you were wrong? That's a question that you can ask. Anyone can ask themselves when they're in that situation. That's knowledge in knowing that the person that caught you or asked you the question, they just learned something about you. And that's the way the question come in to the one that's asking the question. They're gaining knowledge about the individual. Are you mad because you got caught? What's the real reason? Why are you so upset? Or are you mad because you were wrong and you knew you were wrong? Whatever it was, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's one of them questions where you about to punish somebody. That's one of them. You ain't repenting, so I'm gonna make you repent. Yeah, that's one of
Okay.
them. That's one of them lashes questions there, where you are absolute control of somebody's conscience, and they're trying to hide, or they're trying to withdraw, or you trying to pull even more out of them.
Is that trying to get some knowledge or not? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is
So you
actually.
want to know.
That's an interview. That's an inquiry.
Inquiring minds wants to know.
And you just asking them how they feel, and which is what would give you a cue of whether they're culpable or the premeditated crime, or was it a sin of omission or a sin of commission. When you start asking these cues, are you mad because you got caught, or are you mad because you lied, or you guilty? Which one now? Either way is found out, and that other person is in a mess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And all of these things, folks, are different ways of just being blissful. And when I was saying, were you happier before you found out what you found out? Or aren't you glad you didn't find out what you know? Man, I sure am glad I didn't. Oh, I'm glad I didn't pursue that one.
How about cancer?
What about it?
What is that one? That type of knowledge when you find that out. What's the is it a
It's
mixed bag? Is it a what?
when you find out you have cancer or any disease that could take your life. Um, you want to know because you feel within your body that there's something wrong. So of course, naturally, well, some people want to know. Some people just let it go and let it go for forever, and until it gets to the point where they didn't catch it soon enough. But then there are some of us who catch things like that early enough. Um, and truthfully speaking, I mentioned to you early on now, almost 2 years ago. Well, this is my second year, over a year ago, about me being a cancer survivor. And the curiosity was there because I felt the lump in my breast myself. And I said, okay, I don't know what this is, but maybe I just let it ride for about a few days. But then I got more and more curious because I kept feeling it. And so that curiosity led me to want to pursue the knowledge of knowing, okay, what is going on here? I knew it wasn't natural. I knew I hadn't had it all along. So let me go find out what this lump is, this knot. And so that kind of curiosity, a need to know, was something that was good because it saved my life by me addressing it early on.
So
Now, if
you were
I had,
happy you found out, or
I
were you
was
sad you
very,
found out?
I was
Were you,
very happy that I found out.
and were you
Um,
sad that you had it, but you were happy that you found out? How did that work?
I was surprised that I had it once I found out what it was. I was very surprised that I had it. Um, I am very happy, of course, today because it's been 21 years. So I'm very happy even after the second year. Once I was finished with all the chemo
Mm.
and all of the radiation, I was very happy to find out that I was cancer free. So that part was, of course, happiness. During the process, unlike many patients, the mindset was I was going to get through this. So knowing that I was determined to make it through because I still had a son that needed my attention.
We got two
And
minutes and 46 seconds.
wow. So the joy of surviving in itself after I found out is a great thing. It's a blessing. I hope that answered your question.
It did. It did. I know
Oh,
that's a mixed bag. Life is a mixed bag of you're out of a group, you're off the tree, and let's say you're a pecan, but you find yourself among dates and raisins and other nuts. It's not life is a mixed bag like that sometimes. And so if you found yourself out of place and or some your parents told you that you are not of your father and you were raised with someone else, that is what it is. And you're in a mixed bag of nuts. And I adore those. It's okay.
sometimes, sometimes when you're in a mixed bag of nuts, um, it's a good thing because every nut is different, and you're learning and picking up things from each nut because it's just like having your fingers and toes and all that's hooked up together. We are running out of time, folks. I do hope and pray that we had a beautiful, knowledgeable
Yeah.
topic tonight on whether knowledge can hurt you or not. It is my prayer as we pray right now, coming into closing, that Lord, that you have heard us tonight and that you have taken what we have said to be meaningful, even the blissfulness that came out of this subject. Lord, we know that you were in the mix. We believe and trust that you will carry us through and keep us more and more knowledgeable of the things that we should know and need to know. And once we get it, Lord, to give us the grace and the mercy to carry through, to hold on to that knowledge, to use it to uplift your name as we learn each day in this life. We give you praise and honor through it all, no matter what, Lord. And each day brings a new blissfulness. So I thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, I pray to all of these listeners out there. You have a wonderful evening, a blessed weekend. Until next week, I am your host, Nada Manning, on Let's Talk Real Life Show.
This has been Wonderful episode. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. WBISLP 106.9. Enjoy the rest of your day.
This is Reggie Price, and I listen to Awesome Radio online at WBISawesome.org.
So far, you're probably sticking to your New Year's resolution.